Place your taping.
Okay, well, thank you guys for joining me today and for coming to Melissa's Great Dog Training with Bella. Look forward to working with you all. But before we dive in and get started, I wanted to bring out my little doggy notepad here and find out what are some of the issues that you're having with Bella and the reason that you contacted me for training today.
Well, Bella always jumps on people when
Okay.
they come into the house.
Okay, so it's something we want to work on, right? Are there any specific goals or outcomes that you want to see happen after our training today, other than not having her jump on people when they come in the house?
I think what I'd like to see is Marcello give really clear commands. Because
Okay.
I think that when he gives Bella commands, it can be very confusing to her.
Okay,
Sometimes he'll do it in a voice that's not strong, and it'll be confused as plain. And I think Bella sees Marcello especially as an equal rather than he is in fact a level ahead above her.
excellent.
So
Okay,
that if we had something to work on, I think that would be helpful.
okay, sounds great. Well, I will go ahead and keep this notepad right over here, so if you think of anything else.
And even Vincenzo too, I would love to see him give her a few commands. And again, his voice is not as strong, so I'd like to see perhaps maybe her following his commands as well.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much for sharing those with me. So we'll definitely address those today, and you'll see in a few more slides when we kind of go through this and learn a little bit about how to communicate with the dogs. You'll see how we can definitely practice that and do some things maybe a little bit differently and try that out. So this slide here is, I just thought was a kind of a funny caption. Maybe you're feeling that way, maybe not, but sounds like Bella's a pretty good dog overall, other than maybe jumping on people when they come to the house. So let's go ahead and get started. So we did talk a little bit about some issues that you're having with Bella. She's a good dog, like we said, and then we want to work on giving more of an assertive tone to Bella so that she understands those commands and knows that what we'll talk about is that you're going to be more in control than Bella in the household. And that we can really make sure those commands are clear, because we know humans are different than dogs and we communicate and speak differently, right? Sounds good. So we have some topics that we're going to go through today, and I'll just give you guys a little bit more detail in this handout you can kind of reference later on. But we broke up the training into 6 parts, and we talked about your main issues and then what you want to achieve out of this training. The second part is we're going to set goals, expectations of the training, and make sure that we're going to get those results. Next, we're going to talk about the psychology behind all of this and why we do it this way, and the methods, the behavior, and then again communicating with the dogs so that we can learn how to speak their language. We're going to talk about in section 4 corrections that we can do if Bella's not doing something that we like, how to correct that, use positive affirmations and verbal praise for Bella, and some of our correction tools. So some techniques that you can use if she's jumping on people. What can we do to prevent that? And then next we're going to actually do some hands-on practice with her and learning those commands, those corrections, and then we're also going to practice doing that here in the home, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, sound good? So I kind of want to understand a little bit more about your why. So how long have you been dealing with this situation that Bella's been jumping on people?
Pretty much since she was little, like forever.
Forever? So we have to find a solution to that. Okay. Have you had previous training for Bella to try to see if we could correct that, or if any trainer could correct that?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we'll work on that today. So we do in-home dog training, and I know that was interesting for you all instead of having to go out of the home to do this, because we can focus in home so that we don't have those distractions outside, like golf carts and other dogs and people and geckos and other things that might get Bella's attention, and we want her to focus on the training. So we're going to make sure we focus on what your needs are, customize it for Bella, and then get results. So we want to make sure that Bella's being the best dog that she can be, right? And she can only do that through some of the training you'll learn, because she doesn't know unless she's trained, and we practice that with her. So when we do this practice, we'll be able to make sure Bella's a good dog as you're walking her. As people come over, I'm sure they'll be envious of her because she'll be so well behaved, right? So we want to make sure that together we address those bad behaviors. Bella's going to love you for it, and that you have even more happy and harmonious home. So what can we expect from this training? So you see that I've really made it bold, you, in this PowerPoint, because I want to make sure that, yes, we love Bella and we want Bella to be really well behaved, but this is focused on you all and really putting you in the driver's seat to be in control in the house. So you'll learn these techniques so that maybe you get a friend for Bella later on in life. You can then practice these techniques with that dog as well. So you'll have the tools to create a lifelong journey with Bella, with any future dogs that you may bring into your life. Again, we'll set realistic expectations. So we know we don't just learn algebra overnight, right? Or one math class. So we have to keep practicing and kind of learning the basics. So we're going to do the same thing in the dog world, really just practice from the basics to get better and better. So here I like to take a pulse. And I like to ask the question, is Bella trainable?
Yeah.
You think she's trainable, dog? I think so.
Absolutely.
Dogs can learn, right? Do you think you all are trainable to learn some new techniques?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very good. That's a perfect start. So our goals are to make your life more pleasant and predictable. And there's not going to be surprises like Bella jumping on people or acting out of control, because you'll be in control of the house. So we're going to put together maybe some new techniques today that will work better for you and for Bella. So let's get to work. So I don't know if you have heard of this famous quote. It says, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. So that aligns with what we're here to do, and to teach you how to teach Bella to be a better member of the family for life. Okay? So imagine and think of it like this. So this talks about putting you in a position in a dog's world. Okay, so it says you've been placed in a foreign land. So here we are in the villages, or you're placed in a foreign land. So if you're in another country and you don't speak their language, it's going to be hard to be in that environment, right? How do we order food at a restaurant if everything's in another language? Or how do we communicate? How do we ask how to get somewhere? So we kind of have to envision ourselves in a dog's world here. It's foreign to them, right? They're not with their mother and father anymore in that pack in the wild. So we have to figure out how can we communicate best with them so they don't have bad behavior and just disruptive behavior, any aggression or things like that. So there could be problems along the way because we just haven't really built that foundation and learn to communicate together. So the first step is really to see the world as Bella does, and together learn to speak that language. Okay, so let's talk about our 3-step success system. So we're gonna first learn how to communicate with Bella so that we have an understanding of why she reacts and acts the way that she does. We're gonna show you through that practice and getting hands-on how we can train Bella to be a well-behaved dog for life. And then you're gonna leave here today with those tools to be successful. Sound good? Okay. So our method for success. again, giving you the understanding of the relationship between humans and Bella. So I really wanted to love on Bella when she came in here because I'm a huge dog lover, but we want to make sure that that you're in control. So we want to be able to give basic commands like sit and stay, come, let's go. But we also want to be able to use sounds or hand signals, and again, correction tools that we'll talk about. So I liked this slide because dogs are like 2-year-old humans. And research shows that dogs are able to reason, count up to 5, and understand up to 250 words similar to a toddler. They can also understand 250 hand signals. So Bella might know 5 or 10. You can always continue to advance and she can learn more words and hand signals, and you can kind of either use those together or you could use one or another. So very, very smart animals. So by doing these things, you're going to understand what to expect from Bella and know how to achieve your goals. And then Bella's going to feel secure because she's going to know that you understand her and you know what your expectations are. She will be responsive to your commands and she's going to be your best friend forever, right? Okay, so let's talk about exercise, discipline, and affection, and rules, boundaries, and limitations. So what does Bella's routine look like now? Does she get exercise every day or go to a dog park or go for walks?
Answer.
Good.
Do you guys walk her, take her for walks or dog parks?
Big backyard.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So maybe, does she like to play games, frisbee or fetch? A little bit?
What, Ella? Tell us.
She's gonna tell us.
She goes out a few times a day, but she loves to just tear it up and start running in circles, and she likes when you pretend to catch her.
Oh, how
So she
funny.
likes to do that. She'll run really close to you and then she'll run away.
Okay,
And we go for a walk. She comes with us everywhere. So
right,
she gets-
excellent. So
she
she's
gets-
getting her exercise.
She gets a lot of exercise.
Excellent. So we know that exercise is extremely important. Sounds like she's getting plenty of that. Just like humans, we need exercise to have a balanced and healthy life. So you as that leader want to make sure that she's certainly expending that energy in a productive way. And then we want to have rules, boundaries, and parents, right? Rules, boundaries, and limitations, because your parents also want that for humans, right? And for you, because that's important as you're growing up. So we should have those same rules for a dog, and then practice that every day and be consistent with that practice. So the dog's going to appreciate that, and then you'll be appreciative of the dog because they'll have understanding. So starting off on the right paw, you as the dog owner must take a role, either as master, the alpha, boss, or pack leader. What do you guys want to be called? Just as we kind of go through this remaining training. Do you prefer master, alpha, the boss?
I don't really care.
How about alpha?
Sure.
So
Alpha works.
alpha. So you'll be alpha or in control of Bella. So we want to be consistent with the training practices and believe that you'll be successful because again, it's focused on you. I know dog training, sometimes we think we'll just take Bella in and we'll train her all these commands and she'll be well behaved and you go on and about your day, right? But it's really giving you the tools to commit to Bella and practice those so that she obeys you and you're alpha instead of the other way around. So dogs and their pack mindset. Dogs come from the wild and they lived in a pack world where they needed to establish some type of hierarchy. Some dog in that pack needed to be the leader, okay, or the alpha. So that's what they need going forward into a household with humans. They need you to take that role as alpha so that they can look to you. They don't have their mother and father anymore or any siblings with them. So if you take that pack leader role, they're going to listen to you and obey you, and then be appreciative that they have you as the leader. So time to alpha up. You become the alpha. Just like when they're in the pack, that pack leader, another dog, excuse me, is going to control their basic needs. They'll decide when and where to hunt for the food, when the rest of the pack can eat. They'll take the best sleeping spot, the alpha dog, and they'll decide where the pack goes and where they go first. So in a human environment where you're alpha, you're going to set those rules and limitations. So in your home, do you all usually have your breakfast first, or does Bella eat first? Bella eats first, and then you'll eat later. So when we talk about being the alpha of the house, we would want to try maybe having, since you're alpha, you would try having your breakfast first so that Bella can see you're in control, and then you would put the food down for her. And we want to do this from what's called a controlled position. Have you heard of that before? No? So a controlled position is a position that you can put Bella in case there's any situation where people come over and she might jump. We want to put her in a sit position, and we'll learn how we can use the verbal word sit, and then we'll also, what we do is raise our hand up just over Bella's head and use the hand signal to sit, so that she learns that command, and then we build off of that. But anytime she's in that position, we have control. And until we give her another command or release her from that command, she should stay there in that command. So we can sit, stay, and then put down her food for her to eat. Same thing when you go for a walk, or leave to take Bella in the car. Does she usually go first, or is she usually at your side?
To get in the car?
Yeah, or leave the house when she's on her leash.
I don't know.
Does she sometimes like pull out the door and go first, or does she stay right here?
We don't usually have her on a leash when we leave the house.
Okay, don't always need a leash because she's listening to some of those basic commands. Awesome. So if you don't need a leash, and she's responsive to just those commands that you give her, that's awesome. So if there were a dog that kind of, sometimes my dog likes to go out the door first, so I have to make sure that she's in a heel position. So we're learning those commands so that I'm in control, that I'm alpha. Same thing with sitting or sleeping. Does Bella sleep in a bed, or in her own bed, or does she sleep with you all?
Mostly sleeps with Mom.
Okay.
It's all over the place.
She's all over the place.
Couches.
She has a lot of beds.
Yeah.
A lot of beds. Awesome. I love that. She's comfy wherever, right? That's her home. So sitting or sleeping, usually we would recommend that you position yourself higher as alpha. But I know a lot of times we want to just love on our dogs and have them be our cuddle partners, and I definitely am fault for that too. So you determine when the dog gets attention and affection. So when Bella's doing the right thing, we want to love on her, give positive affirmations and affection. Good dog, Bella. Good girl. And then you determine when the dog moves. So again, using those basic commands, because we don't want to trip over Bella and we don't want to fall and get hurt or hurt her, right? So using those commands so that you can have her move rather than having to step over and then she's moving, and we don't want to fall down and have anyone get hurt. So you as alpha make all the decisions. You're the leader. So we wanted to kind of talk about our tones and using those easy commands, because dogs don't understand sentences, right? So short commands, one-word commands that we continue to use over and over again, in addition to those hand signals, so they understand them. And again, staying in a calm, cool, and assertive tone or voice, because Bella knows our tones. And if we're, we don't need to be yelling at those, we don't need to be screaming. we can easily say, Bella, sit. And if she doesn't, we will start over and continue practicing that until she starts to learn those commands. So we don't have to use any, you know, aggressive tone or angry tone, but being assertive and not, you know, laughing or just saying in a firm tone. So Bella's learning that. And we can't expect dogs to know what they haven't been taught, right? So if Bella's jumping on a lot of people when they come over, if we're not training her to not do that, she's not going to know. So we want to have patience along the way because, you know, it's, again, not a process that'll happen overnight. But the more we're practicing that every day, a little bit each day, she'll continue to learn and you'll work together. So training corrections. So again, Bella's looking for you as that alpha to figure out, well, what do I do? Show that guidance, be consistent with it, and then reward her positively and give that affection and praise. So in a pack, dogs communicate in 3 ways. So they're going to give 3 different warnings. The first warning is they're going to growl. And if their mom is still unhappy and the puppies are doing something wrong, the next they're going to do is snap. And then if it gets worse, the third warning they're going to give is bite. Okay, so we really don't want it to get that bad. Hopefully they'll get it after those first warnings, right? Warning 1 or 2. So to show your dog you're not happy and you're in charge, we're going to learn a word today that's instead of a growl like the dogs would do in their pack, we're going to learn what's called a ba. Can you guys try it?
Ba.
V.
Again, like a big convincing growl from your belly. Ba. We'll practice that one. So,
Practice right now. V, let's see it.
one more.
Ba.
Ba.
Good, a big growl from the belly. Ba.
Come on,
Ba.
Good, all right. So that one needs to be a really deep belly convincing growl. Everybody together.
Okay, ba.
Ba. All right. We'll keep practicing that one.
Ba.
see?
So that we'll use as our first correction.
Listen to me, I'm
So
woman
I
else.
think she's taking it the wrong way here.
Well, you're doing your correction.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
gonna
we're gonna
treat
play
me.
now.
That's
Okay, down.
So we're gonna use ba as our first correction, okay? So it's just gonna be that word. But if Bella is still not behaving, we're gonna wanna move to what's called the snap. And how do we do that as humans, okay? The snap, we're not gonna bite, we're gonna have a snap sound using a correction tool, okay? So what we have here in these little baggies are chains, okay? And so if the ba doesn't work, we can drop this, okay? And Bella can start to associate that tool with the snap sound.
That's
So
a relief. I thought you were gonna throw that.
I'm not gonna hurt anybody, and it's not gonna hurt Bella. So we can either drop that on the floor, if inside the house and you don't want her jumping, you could try the snap tool here. Or if you have pockets and you have a small one, you could put it in your pocket or in a, you know, a little backpack or something as you're walking and training Bella and practicing that command, or practicing some of the behaviors. So that's our snap tool. The last one, we certainly don't wanna bite with dogs, right? Or have any, humans would never go there with a dog. So we're gonna use our ba and our snap as our correction tools. Additional correction tools we're gonna take a look at today. One's a training collar, okay? So some people look at this and they'll think a choke collar, okay? But everything we do here at Great Dog Training is using all ethical, humane training corrections for the dog, okay? Only using positive affirmations when she's doing the right thing and then correcting them when they're doing the wrong. So we're not going to focus on the word no unless it's an emergency situation and Bella darts out the front door and there's cars in the street, right? Then we might really use the word no because we want to get it across to her. Get back here, Bella, no. So this training collar, when it's used correctly, and we're gonna fit this on Bella today, this is not a choke collar. This is gonna give just a sound that she's going to associate with the correction. Okay, and it's going to have a lot of room there. That's why we want to fit it correctly. About 4 inches of extra room that she's going to have as wiggle room. The next tool that we're going to talk about is called a pet corrector. Okay, this is just air, so it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt Bella, but we're not going to aim it at anyone or at the dog. But we are going to use that as, ready? So that is another option called the pet corrector that we can use for Bella. So we have Bop, we have Snap Tool, we have the training collar, and then you also have the pet corrector spray. Okay, so those are the tools that we're going to use in a couple minutes. So we talked a bit about the consistency and praise that we're going to give Bella. So consistency by practicing these corrections each day for a couple minutes, 10 or 15 minutes a day. Just like us, we can't soak everything in one long sitting, right? I know this is a lot of information at once, and we probably only get bits and pieces of it. So we have to think about the same thing for a dog. Chunks of time throughout the day to kind of focus on that training and giving it time to put into place and actually solve those problems. And then we want to give praise immediately or within a second after Bella does the right thing and responds to a command. And I like this slide just to talk as we're talking about affection. So does Bella love to have her ears rubbed?
She likes it, yeah.
She likes it, yeah. It says dogs get a high when you rub their ears real good because they have a lot of nerves in their ears, and it releases endorphins when you rub them. So I thought that was super cute because I know a lot of dogs love that affection and rub on their ears. We're going to practice the long come command. And since Bella's awesome and she already knows how to sit, we're going to make sure she can sit. We're going to use this rope. We're going to practice first with just 5 feet of the rope where Bella is going to be sitting, and then we'll have the rope all the way up to 30 feet as we continue to increase the distance when Bella responds to that command. Okay? And then we're going to talk about answering the door, and how do we do that by getting Bella in a sit position to stay, and then when we're ready and maybe our guests are in the house or we're ready for Bella to be introduced to those friends, we'll say, Bella, come. Okay, but until we're ready. So since you're alpha, you'll be in control of when that happens so that your friends and your guests that are there aren't bombarded with Bella when they come over, right? So we're all dog people, but not everybody is. So they may want to say, oh, if she could just stay there for a minute, let me get in, let me bring my food into the kitchen. And so when you're ready, you release her and say, oh, come greet our friends. And then we're also going to practice walking on the leash. So it sounds like Bella sometimes uses the leash, maybe when you're going in stores with her and things like that, and sometimes she doesn't need it. But when she's on the leash, we want to make sure that she is starting from a controlled sit that we talked about and heeling next to us and not being in control, being in the lead. And we will remember to give her those commands, sit, heel, and use the corrections along the way if she's not. So like we talked about, dogs can learn a lot of commands. So we are only talking about maybe 4 or 5 today, but we can continue to add commands if you'd like, as we teach her some of the basic ones. But we're going to use the chain collar, the bop, and some of our other correction tools to show Bella that you're in control. Okay, so we can use a combination of those, or some people use like a bottle with coins in them as a shaker. That can kind of be one of their tools if the dog's barking or jumping, things like that. So there's a lot of options, but what we have here have been proven to be successful, so we can start there. So we want to make this simple for you all. Okay, and we'll start to finish up here. we want to make sure that you're alpha, so we acknowledge that today, that you all will be alpha in the household, not Bella. We want to map out a plan, so we talked about kind of committing to 15, maybe 10 or 15 minutes per day, working with Bella to make sure she's learning the commands we want her to learn, and then committing to that. So now Bella will trust you. She'll obey your commands, and you'll have a happy and harmonious home. So it's about you, a little less about Bella. So I thought this was cute. So training plus exercise plus play all make a happy dog every day. So I thank you guys so much for coming in today. And let's go ahead and let's start learning some of our, how to use our new tools. Ready? All right.
Okay, we're gonna stop. I'll get that first, stop.